Back in 2009, I was dating a narcissist, and the narcissist brought me here to this church. This church put me through a lot of abuse that I still suffer anxiety from to this day. I moved away from Coventry to Birmingham to get away from these people because I knew I wanted them in the past. I wanted to put them behind me. Now, this church used to be run by a vicar called David Mayhew, and the abuse was very bad. One, I suffered religious abuse, being discriminated for being bisexual. I suffered threats of gay conversion therapy. I suffered alienation if I didn't adhere to their rules of discipleship. Now, I did not want to disciple some of the drug addicts in this church. It was forced upon me. What happened was, you end up with Stockholm Syndrome if you come to this church. Make no mistake, I suffered Stockholm Syndrome very bad. I suffered physical abuse from members of the clergy. I suffered sexual abuse from some members of the clergy. Now, I threatened to sue some of the drug addicts and have them put behind bars for physical violence towards me. Now, what happened was, this church tried to disciple people on drugs, paedophiles, rapists, women bashers, people who committed physical felonies, some people who committed theft. What happened to me was, I dated a narcissist, and the narcissist pressured me to come to this church. I even suffered a lot of threats of violence if I didn't attend this church by the narcissist. I won't mention the name of the narcissist, but I have a story about how I overcame the narcissist. I went through 3 stages with the narcissist: the love bombing phase, the devaluation stage, and then the final stage where they completely abandon you. I went through all of that with the narcissist. Now, this church in 2009 was run by a vicar called David Mayhew. He bullied people who came into the church to become carers, codependent carers of people who were on drugs. We were forced to disciple these people. We were forced to deny our intuitions. We were gaslighted. If I said no to some of these actions, some of the women in the church, they were very nasty. There was a woman called Mavis who used to run the Thursday afternoon service. Mavis Newell. She gaslit me into taking care of these drug addicts. I was told by Mavis that if I didn't take care of them, I would be burning and tortured in hell. I was also told to not go to the police if any of the drug addicts and the criminals physically assaulted me. I was told that it would be a worldly thing to do. I was told that if I trust in man, as in mankind, that I would be committing idolatry. If I said to Mavis that I didn't like what she was saying and trying to make me do against my will, I got touched in the breasts, I got jabbed in the shoulders. Sometimes I had threats of violence from this woman. David Mayhew was the same. He didn't threaten violence so much explicitly, but if you disagreed with him, he would jab you in the shoulder. Or if you were a woman, he would jab you in the breast. I told Justin Welby about this abuse. Justin Welby just shrugged it off and said, "Don't trust the police, don't trust the solicitors, because if you put your trust in," he said it, but Justin Welby said, "If you put your trust in anything other than God, you are committing idolatry." This is religious gaslighting and spiritual bypassing. This church is really, really toxic. Since coming here, I've attended another church called Holy Trinity, a different one, completely different. And there was a favourite song, Gyra. This song is a favourite. That's for another video, the song Gyra. That they never did this one in this church. I now attend other Anglican churches like All Saints and King's Heath. A lot of my new friends are aware of what has happened. I have attended a gay church where there was a case of sexual abuse, and I refuse to bow down to the gaslighters in ICG in Birmingham as well. No way am I bowing down to people who are going to oppress, tyrannise, take away your identity, cause spiritual trauma, cause Stockholm Syndrome. Forget it. I have been watching endless videos on YouTube about narcissistic abuse, spiritual abuse, and a new condition I have discovered. There's a syndrome called spiritual abuse syndrome. Something like that. I can't remember the words. Spiritual trauma syndrome. That's it. Spiritual trauma syndrome. You get so many Bible bashers hanging about, preaching in the streets, literally believing that they will go to hell if they do not surrender their souls. Now, this church taught the most blasphemous teaching, I think. I was told that if you don't put God first, others second, and yourself third, I would go to hell. But since COVID, I started to put myself first. I terminated the relationship with the narcissist,